marketing is a great place to waste money for any entrepreneur. So I always say you got to be able to track the dollars that you're spending. And it's not to say that any one style of marketing is better, whether you be online or in the telephone book or, printing in your local newspaper. Any of those will work for you in your own area. But you got to be able to track it.
This is The Entrepreneur Way with Neil Ball. Unlocking the secrets of successful entrepreneurs 7 days a week. Subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Twitter at Neil D. Ball. Napoleon Hill said the power of the mastermind is the driving force. To discover how you can unlock the potential in your business using the power of a mastermind, go to mastermindunlimited.com. And now, here is your host, Neil Ball.
Hello, it's Neil Ball. Thank you so much for joining me today on The Entrepreneur Way. The Entrepreneur Way is about the entrepreneur's journey, the vision, the mindset, the commitment, the sacrifice, failures and successes. I am so excited to bring you our special guest today, Vance Morris. But before I introduce you to him, I have a little quote for you. Zora Neale Hurston said, "There are years that ask questions and years that answer." The Entrepreneur Way asks the questions so we all get the insight, inspiration and ideas to apply in our businesses. Vance, welcome to the show. Are you ready to share your version of the Entrepreneur Way with us?
Oh, most definitely. Looking forward to it, Neil.
Thank you for coming on the show, Vance. Vance spent 10 years working for the mouse at Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. After leaving Disney, he utilized his skills to rescue or improve many of America's companies and government agencies. His clients included Legal Seafoods, Tyson, NASA, the Rainforest Café, the Compass Group, the Executive Office of the President of the United States, and the Smithsonian and Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. Tiring of corporate life, Vance opened his own Bricks Mortar Business in 2007. After meteoric growth of his service business, other entrepreneurs began to seek him out for advice and counsel. This spawned his next business, Deliver Service Now, consulting and coaching other companies on how to create and implement Disney-style service and then apply direct response marketing to profit from it. Vance Morris has shared the stage with many of the premier marketers and service professionals in the world, including Dan Kennedy, Joe Polish, Bob Brown, Lou Ferrigno, Dean Jackson, Jack Canfield, and many others. He's received many marketing awards, including the 2015 Marketer of the Year, the 2014 award winner of Dan Kennedy's International Marketing Competition, and 2013 and the 2014 GKIC Diamond Marketer of the Year finalist. Vance, can you provide us with some more insight into your business and personal life to allow us to get to know more about what you do and who you are?
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to. I think one of the things that, was always a nagging in the back of my head was that, and I came to realize this just a few years ago, is that I make a really lousy employee. And what I mean by that is the way I'm put together, I am not someone who can work for someone else. Most companies that I worked for work too slowly for me. I would see the solution right on the horizon and go for it, and then not to be 10 seconds later said, nope, can't go that fast, slow down, whoa doggy, come on back. And I was in corporate America for probably 25 years before going out on my own, so to speak. And I think really the catalyst for going out on my own was being at the beck and call of someone else. I had been laid off twice, the last time during the giant financial upheaval in 2007. Not sure how much that affected the UK, but we got clobbered pretty good here.
Yeah, so did we.
And on a personal level, it really, my wife and I were both working at the time. And when I lost my job, I was, I said, that's it. No more. I'm not going to, work for someone else. I want my life in my control. I don't want anybody else to be able to say, you're done. And from there, I started looking at different businesses that I could get into. And I signed a contract. I actually started a franchise carpet cleaning business here in Maryland, and was really looking forward to that. Now, mind you, I have never vacuumed a carpet beforehand, and so people always ask, well, why the heck did you choose carpet cleaning? And I think a lot of it had to do with I was looking for a company that had a phenomenal product, because I took my background from Walt Disney World, which, I learned the service aspect, the marketing aspect, and really had those items down. But I was looking for a product that I could really stand behind. I could look my clients in the eye and say, you know what, this stuff works. And I had been in hotels and restaurants for most of my life, and I knew I didn't want to do that. That lifestyle was really hard on the family. I have 4 children. So doing that kind of lifestyle with 4 kids was not what I was looking for. So I was looking not only for something that I could do on my own, but something that was going to provide for my lifestyle. And I think that that's what entrepreneurs and business owners really need to look at before they make the leap into doing their own thing is what you're looking at going to provide the life that you want to lead? Or is it going to tie you down and just be almost as bad as having a job? When I had just signed the contract for my franchise, my wife had a serious medical issue. So she lost her job. She went on disability payments. But, we went from a mid 6-figure salary for the family down to pretty much zero when I was starting the business. So talk about having to scramble and claw my way up. I had to learn real fast how to clean carpet, and more so, I had to learn real fast how to sell carpet cleaning, because that's really what the position that I was in. I had to be in the selling of carpet cleaning business as opposed to just the doing of it. And that really, took some time to build up. So, personally, we were part of the folks that, lost their home. Not very proud of it, but, it is part of who I am. And I think it made me stronger for what I was doing in the future. I knew nothing but going up. Where a lot of my competitors were on the way down because they had been in business for a while and had gotten lazy with their marketing and lazy with their business practices. And, well, I was brand new, and I knew that, and I had to make it work. I had no choice. Here I am. I've got a brand new business, a wife that couldn't go to work. I had to make it work. So that's how we got to having my own business and doing even more after that.
Mm-hmm. And how do you make money from being an entrepreneur now?
How do I make money now?
Yeah.
Well, I've got a number of different businesses. I still have my carpet cleaning business, which is my core business. And really the other 2 businesses kind of came from within that. I had other carpet cleaners asking me, Vance, how are you doing this? How are you getting the prices that you charge? How are you, creating these profits that, I can't seem to get there? So I started to coach other businesses on their marketing and how to improve their marketing. So now I run a marketing mastermind group here in Maryland that, has members that belong to it. And, we talk about marketing, and I coach them on their advertising and their business practices. And then finally, the last piece of it is the service piece. And it kind of came out of the marketing business, but it was a way to separate myself from the rest of the marketing guru pack, was using my Disney experience And actually, I now take people down to Walt Disney World on what I call a Disney service boot camp, and I teach them everything I ever learned at Disney on how to, not only on service levels, but also on their business processes and how they were able to create the magic on a day in and day out business, and how all that stuff definitely translates to any business. You can take what Disney does and translate it into any business with little to no effort.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that you run a mastermind in Maryland. Can you just explain to us what you think the benefit of being in a mastermind is?
Well, certainly. As the leader of the mastermind, I get a great glimpse at a whole bunch of businesses, and I get paid for doing it. So from my point of view, it's phenomenal. For the participants, they get a board of directors. If you're a solopreneur or an entrepreneur, there aren't too many people out there that you can really talk to and talk about your business, talk about what you're going through, that really, truly understand it. The mind of an entrepreneur is very different from someone that has a job. And somebody that has a job, and I'm not saying that in a derogatory sense, but somebody that has a job, they just don't get it, what we're going through. And having that mastermind where you can come in and share an issue, share a problem, and have 9 or 11 other people either tell you, how they overcame a similar problem, or have those 9 or 11 people offer you ideas on how to advance your business. It's having your own mini board of directors, and it's extremely powerful. And I've seen people, not only in my own group, but groups that I belong to, and just seen their businesses, they get business ideas. Like my Disney service business was not mine. It actually came out of a mastermind group. And I would have lost, hundreds of thousands of dollars in income had I not been part of a mastermind group, because I may have thought of it eventually, but someone else said, Vance, why aren't you doing something with Disney? Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's a great question. Why aren't I? And that's how the third business was born.
Mm-hmm. Just one other thing I'd like to just talk about a little bit more. You keep talking about Disney, and whilst I've read about Disney, and a lot of us have experienced Disney, I don't think people are really aware of their sort of customer service and everything. Can you just give us a quick overview of what's special about the customer service of Disney?
Well, certainly. Disney is known for, creating, magical. The people talk about the magic of a Disney vacation or a Disney experience. And, one of the things that Disney is just known for across the world is exceeding their guests' expectations. So, the guests there expect to, wait in line. They expect to, wait in line a lot, whether it be for meals or for attractions. But the way Disney does it is they actually entertain people, so it doesn't seem like the wait is so long. If you go to a regular theme park, there's not much entertainment. You wait in line and that's what you do. You stand there. At Disney, they entertain you while you're standing there. So it's all part of the attraction. We were taught from early on that, exceeding the guest expectation is part of our job. So, they expect to eat. Okay, but do they expect us to know their favorite food, which, we get from surveys, and we talk to our guests, and if they come back to our restaurant a second night, we recognize them and we say, hey, wow, great to see you again, Mrs. Smith. I know that you were here last night. I hope you enjoyed your day at the park. And really getting to know them, like you're welcoming them into your own home. The basis for all of what Disney does and how they create the magic. And, magic, and I hate to break it to your listeners, there's really no such thing as magic. When David Copperfield gets on stage and makes the elephant disappear, I hate to break it to you, the elephant really didn't disappear. It was just a repeatable, replicatable system that he put together. If you look at it from the vantage point of the magician, it's all very systemized. It's, how the hands move, where you get the audience's eyes to go. It's practiced, it's updated, and it's practiced again and again and again until it's near picture perfect. And with Disney, that's how we created the magic at Disney, is with repeatable, replicatable practice systems.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And what do you enjoy most about what you do?
Being able to have the lifestyle that I want, to be able to, talk with people like you, to be able to live my life on my terms. Like I said, I was looking for a lifestyle business, something that was going to allow me to live the life that that I want to live. As I mentioned, I have 4 children. I stop my work day every day at 4 p.m. So that I can spend time with my children. When they come home from school, I can do homework with them. I cook dinner, and then I, take them to their swimming or their ballet or football, whatever they're involved in that day. That's not to say I don't go back to work, maybe late at night and answer some emails or do some reading. But the key thing to what I'm doing right now is, making sure that my lifestyle is protected.
Mm-hmm. And what is it that drives you, Vance?
It's an inner drive. It's a drive to constantly do better. Living up to my potential. Even though I'm running 3 businesses, I still don't feel that I'm up to my potential. And that's what keeps me going is, how can I do this a little bit better? How can I make this a little bit profitable? How can I make this a better experience for either my coaching clients or for my customers in my carpet cleaning business? So it's really just a self-drive that keeps me going.
Mm-hmm. And how do you relax when you're not working in your business?
I always meditate. If you're not meditating, I strongly recommend it. But I get a chance to, again, going back to my children, taking care of them and going to their events. That's very relaxing because I can go there and be there and not have to, and be there without my cell phone, being on and having to talk to somebody at work. People know that if I don't answer, they know when I'm going to call them back. And so to be able to turn all that stuff off is extremely important.
Mm. And do you have any entrepreneurial role models?
Oh, certainly. Dan Kennedy, who is a incredible serial entrepreneur and marketer. Joe Polish, we talked about before we came on the call. Certainly, both of them are phenomenal role models. If you haven't studied either one of them, I strongly suggest it. And then actually an old boss from Disney, who is he really was an entrepreneur at Disney, really drove a lot of what made Disney great. He's no longer with the company, but Charles Henning was probably my biggest mentor that I've had in my entire career.
Okay, thank you for that. Vance, can we talk about the time before you were an entrepreneur? What difficulties did you have to overcome when you started your business?
Well, certainly, starting the business in the time period that I did was extremely difficult, with people holding on to their cash, not wanting to spend it. Some of the big things were, I was by myself. With very little resources to fall back on. I had to learn, how to market my business. I had to learn how to clean carpet, and really trying to do everything all at once before I had my first employee was really difficult. I think the best thing I ever did was hiring my first employee, even though I really couldn't afford it at the time, so that I could focus on things that would build the business, and I stopped working in my business. I'm proud to say I haven't cleaned a carpet in a number of years, and I've had some really good employees taking that piece. And I've been able to delegate other things to, my accountant. I still hold on to the marketing. I don't let anybody else do that. I think it's too important. Mm-hmm. But really before I had the businesses, learning those items was crucial to improving what I had going on.
Mm-hmm. And did you have any doubts that delayed you starting your business?
No doubts whatsoever. I dove right into it, and thank goodness I did that, because again, with losing both my wife's income and my severance package, it was very important that that I make it succeed. So if I had a doubt, I didn't show it to anybody. I just went straight forward and went right into it.
Mm-hmm. And what mistakes did you make that slowed your journey?
I think waiting to hire my first employee certainly slowed things down. It took me a while. I just kept thinking, I can't afford one. When in actuality, I needed to have one so that I could grow the business. And there was no way that I was going to grow without that employee. I think, learning a different style of marketing. I firmly subscribe now to what's called direct response marketing, where when you spend $1 on your marketing, you see that dollar coming back in. And my franchisor was very big on, here's a picture of a puppy, and that's supposed to sell carpet cleaning, when it didn't sell much of anything. So I really had to discover a mode of marketing that was going to work for me, and really, get my return on my investment on my marketing dollars. Those were the two really big things that held me back at the beginning.
What are some of the things that you did before you started your business that would be helpful tips to some of the listeners who haven't yet taken the first step on the entrepreneur way?
Well, I would certainly, research yourself. What do you want, out of life? Because if you decide to pick a job that doesn't deliver your lifestyle, then, you're going to waste a lot of time and you're going to be very frustrated. So certainly research deep inside yourself as to what you want to have, what you want for your lifestyle, whether it be for family, whether it be for money, whatever. And then go and research, a business model that is going to support that. It may not be something that you've ever done before. I'm a great example of that, where, as I mentioned, I was in hotels and restaurants my entire life, and I ended up owning a carpet cleaning business. So you never know what's going to pop up on the horizon, but you got to do your research.
Mm-hmm. Vance, what I'd like to do now is just talk a little bit more about the entrepreneurial journey. Do you think culture is important from the beginning in a business?
Oh, definitely. Especially when you're by yourself, you need to establish what you are going to be about. What are your core standards? What are your core beliefs? Because unless you're only going to work by yourself for the rest of your career, you're going to have employees, and they need to understand where you were and what's important to you. A great example is, we treat our customers' homes with tremendous respect. Carpet cleaners don't have a great reputation. They're kind of like plumbers and electricians. We're always looking to add on sneaky things onto the bill. And I firmly believe that was not the way to best serve our clients. And the only way to get our clients to come back was to treat them right from the get-go. So that's, as far as our culture and what I try to teach, that's extremely, extremely important is, how we're going to treat our customers, how I'm going to treat the employees, and how the business is going to run. So yes, culture is extremely important.
Knowing what you know now, is there anything that if you'd known it when you started out would have helped you to shortcut the learning curve?
Well, as I mentioned, certainly hiring sooner, definitely would have made the business more profitable a lot quicker. We talked a little bit about a mastermind. Had I been part of a group at the beginning, I think certainly that would have been a great investment in my career, and I think that certainly would have shortcutted a lot of the pain and agony that I went through in growing the business.
Okay. And how much does gut feeling influence your decisions in your business?
Unfortunately, too much, I think. And I think that's with entrepreneurs. You've got to take the time to think and make sure that is this opportunity right for your priorities. most of the time, I'd say probably 85% of the time, my gut has not been wrong. It's just one of those, this seems right to do it. But boy, when I'm wrong, that 15% can be painful. So I definitely recommend people take a few minutes to, really think through their decision.
Mm-hmm. And what advice would you give to fellow business owners that may be struggling in business right now?
Find a coach. Mm-hmm. Find someone that you can bounce ideas off and that can help guide you. Find a mastermind group in your area, even if it's an unofficial mastermind group, just a group of guys or gals that get together for the sole purpose of talking about business that's confidential, people that you trust, or getting involved in a formal mastermind group, and finding a facilitator who knows how to facilitate a mastermind meeting, because it's extremely important and extremely powerful.
Mm-hmm. Vance, life is made of constant change, whether we like it or not. In fact, many people say the only constant in life is change. How do you try to keep up with change?
That's a great question. Change, it can happen to you, or you can manage it. Mm-hmm. And I try to stay up on all of the different things that are going on, not only in my industry, but in other industries. My reading is very eclectic, to say the least. I actually read an orthodontist magazine. I still keep up on restaurants and hotels. And I try to see the trends before they, become my enemy. A lot of times you can see financially how your region or the country is going by how restaurants are doing. So finding, restaurant financial viability is extremely important, because once they're kind of like my barometer, once they start to waver or go down, I know that something's on the horizon. But being able to react to change and react nimbly, make sure that your systems that you have in your business are not going to slow you down, and be able to react quickly. And, if you have to change your whole business model, be able to do that, but be able to do that on your own terms.
Mm-hmm. Interesting thing you just said there about reading about other industries, orthodontists and restaurants. So obviously you use that as a barometer, but you must get other benefits from doing that. Is there anything else, any other benefits you get from doing that?
Oh, sure. You certainly get other ideas. Yeah. I get tons of marketing ideas. I call it swipe and deploy. So I can see a marketing piece, for an orthodontist or for a restaurant or, for any of the dental groups that I read about, and I can take that ad or take that marketing sequence and twist it and turn it and massage it so that it'll work in either my marketing business or in my carpet cleaning business. And so I'm not just stealing it, but I'm taking the idea that they used and molding it so that it's going to work in my business. And that has not failed me yet. So I always encourage people, make sure you're reading, not just business stuff, but read nonfiction. Try and find other industries that have nothing to do with you, and just pick up a copy of their. You don't even have to subscribe. Just go to the bookstore or the newsstand and pick up a couple of copies of some other industry trade journals, and try and read through them. You'll be surprised what you learn.
Mm-hmm. A recurring thing that you've said throughout this is you keep talking about marketing, and at one point you actually said that you wouldn't let go of the marketing. Marketing obviously is very important in business, and I think it's something that a lot of business owners neglect. What advice would you give to them in terms of marketing?
Well, certainly, as I said, for small business owners, I really firmly believe there's only one style of marketing, which is called direct response marketing. And what that means is that your ad has to elicit an immediate response from someone. Now, that doesn't need to be a purchase, but if you're going to spend $10 on an ad, you want to be able to see and know that $10 is coming back from that ad. So you have to have a mechanism in there to gauge that ad's effectiveness. Usually you can do that with, call a 1-800 number for more information, offer a free report, or, if you're going right for the sale, going right for the gut, having a coupon or some type of offer in there that's going to make the phone ring. Mm-hmm. And then you need to very detailed track that marketing piece to make sure that it's working. Because if you can't track it, there's no sense in doing it because you'll just be wasting money. So marketing is a great place to waste money for any entrepreneur. So I always say you got to be able to track the dollars that you're spending. And it's not to say that any one style of marketing is better, whether you be online or in the telephone book or, printing in your local newspaper. Any of those will work for you in your own area. But you got to be able to track it.
Mm-hmm. So what you're really saying is don't do it, well, certainly in the UK, I don't know about the United States, don't do it like they do a lot of television advertising.
That's exactly correct.
Yeah. Vance, you mentioned reading, which is something you said you do quite a lot of. What is your favourite book on entrepreneurialism, business, personal development, leadership, or motivation? And can you tell us why you have chosen it?
Sure. The first book, I've got a couple, but the first one would be the No BS Direct Marketing Guide for Non-Direct Response Businesses, which was written by Dan Kennedy. And this book is literally a how-to, step-by-step market a small business. And it's written in a language that you can't mess it up. It is very basic, which is why they call it No BS. It was just written for any small business can do it. So it doesn't matter what industry you're in, it'll work for you. And then I think really the magazine that I subscribe to, and I'm sure you have it in the UK, is Success Magazine, mm-hmm. and Darren Hardy is the publisher. His book has been phenomenal. It's called The Compound Effect. He also has a program called The Compound Effect, and I 100% encourage anybody who's either just starting out or has been doing this for 20 years to get either one of those books.
Okay, thank you for that. Everybody, when you have a busy life, listening to audiobooks is a great way to expand your knowledge in a time when you may be doing other things, such as driving or when you're at the gym. We have a special offer for you of a free audiobook of your choosing. To choose your free audiobook, go to www.freeaudiobookoffer.com. As long as you haven't already signed up, then you will qualify. Vance, what I'd like to do now is speculate about the future a little bit. So what one thing would you do with your business if you knew that you could not fail?
Wow. If I knew I could not fail, I know that sooner or later I will be selling the carpet cleaning business, and certainly that would be at the top of the list of things to do, so that I can spend more time on what's a little bit more profitable and what's a little bit more in line with my lifestyle. I don't know how many people have told you they want to sell their business, but that would be at the top of the list for me.
Mm-hmm. And what skill, if you were excellent at it, would help you the most to double your business?
If I could even improve my marketing skills more, mm-hmm. And be able to double my business with improved marketing, I think our customer service is already there. Really, the only way to get to double the business is to improve the marketing.
Okay. And in 5 years from now, if a well-known business publication was publishing an article on your business after talking to your customers and suppliers, what would you like it to say?
Well, it will say that he ran all of his businesses with integrity, and that no matter he walked the talk. Mm-hmm. And I think I do that in all of my coaching businesses. Is that, everything that I talk about, I've tested or already done in my own business or in my own personal life, and whether it was right or wrong, and I'll let people know whether it failed. So knowing that I ran my businesses with integrity, and I could look any person in the eye, and be able to stand there and say, hey, this is exactly what I stand for, I think that would be tremendous.
Thank you. We're now at the part of the show where you share 3 golden nuggets with us. So, Vance, what is your favorite quote and how have you applied it?
Sure. My favorite quote is, we will be better tomorrow than we were today. Which is just constant improvement. You don't need to improve, 10%, 20%, 50%, every day or every week. Just 1%. That's all you need, or 0.1%. So constantly looking to be better tomorrow than I was today. I apply that in every business. I look at every one of my systems and how can we do this a little bit better? How do we serve our clients? How can I do it a little bit better? How can I make this a better experience? So certainly that would be the quote that lives with me the most.
Mm-hmm. And do you have any favorite online resources that you can share with us?
Online, well, definitely success.com for Success Magazine. You can certainly is definitely a great way for folks to, and they actually have a lot of free items that will certainly help you. It's something I start my day with every day is something from Success. It's just to start my day off on a positive note.
Okay. And what is your best advice to other entrepreneurs?
If you hate it, get out of it and get out of it quickly. If you love it, find a way to make it profitable, because sooner or later you're going to end up hating it if it's not profitable, and then you'll be right at the first part of trying to get rid of it.
Everyone, if you didn't manage to get a note of Vance's favourite resource or his favourite book, then go to Vance's show notes page. You just go to theentrepreneurway.com and search for Vance or Vance Morris in the search box. Vance, is there anything else that you'd like to add about your business?
I think that, knowing that it was not a smooth ride, and nobody's going to have a smooth ride. And I think that's what made me, my business stronger and made myself stronger. I've written a couple of books, which I don't think if I had been an employee of another company that I ever would have done. So I think that, just really knowing that it was not an easy ride, certainly made myself a lot stronger.
Vance, thanks for coming on the show and sharing your story and sharing your great perspective on marketing and Disney and your business and just business in general. It's been absolutely fantastic. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Neil. I appreciate you having me on the show.
You're welcome, Vance. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to The Entrepreneur Way. Subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Twitter @Neil D. Ball.